Ben, we'll start with you.
This weekend is going to be pretty different than the last 2 weekends. How do you all make sure the mindset doesn't change?
It feels good to be home. I'm pretty sure that everyone knows we went out this past 2 weekends and we handled business, but it feels good to be home, back in our environment, back in front of our fans, and we'll see if we can handle, a pretty good Missouri team coming into our stadium.
Mike and then Ryan.
Yeah, Evan, with Drew Beam, what was your experience catching him in the fall, and was there any way to see the way that he's developed coming at that point?
In the fall he was coming off his injury, so it was kind of surprising to see, how much success he had at the beginning of the season, and till now he's developed into a really good pitcher. But he was struggling in the fall a little bit, but whenever we started the season, we didn't know who was our Sunday guy, and Coach V and Coach A, they did a good job talking and communicating with each other about who they thought could handle it. And Drew Beam, coming from a football background, playing quarterback in front of a lot of fans when he was in high school, I think that kind of gave him the advantage over a lot of guys for the Sunday guy, and he took it and ran with it.
Similar question, a different player, Will Mabry. Just where have you seen him grow from last year to this year, and how is he I guess mentally? It seems like he gets those big moments a lot when coming in games with runners and scoring position. What makes him effective in those moments? He
made adjustments. He developed a new pitch, and the new pitch, it's more of a cutter / slider type of pitch, and it's so good that it doesn't matter if he's composed or not. He's able to throw it over the plate and get a lot of good hitters out. So seeing how much hard work he's put in, and to be able to go into some big situations and have him coming out of the pen whenever we really need a big out, it's nice to have a guy that's got a lot of pitches and a lot of ways to get a good hitter out. So.
Vince and then Rick and then Wes.
Evan, two things. Can you share some body language of hitters when they're in the box against Ben Joyce?
Man, it's I don't think there's ever one person that's in there and that's really comfortable. I've made jokes about him. It doesn't hurt for him to have some hit by pitches, because if you're looking at the report and a guy's throwing 105 miles an hour with some hit by pitches, it doesn't matter how good of a hitter you are. You're not going to be excited to get in there. So, you can see based on the swings of some people with the new pitch that he's developing, his slider, he's able to throw it for strikes. People are in there with one goal in mind, and that's not to be late by the fastball. And he's going to expose a lot of people, especially if he can throw some off speed over the plate.
And you guys seemingly have handled being the unanimous #1 team in the country so well. Why do you think that is, that you guys are comfortable in that role as being the hunted as the #1 team?
There's a lot of teams that they experience that #1 get beside their name and they start pressing because they aren't too confident that it belongs there, and they sort of try to prove that it belongs, and then whenever another good team comes in, it can kind of, their confidence can kind of be wishy-washy. But I'm pretty sure everyone in our locker room knows that, that one belongs there, and as long as we play our game, our talent level is pretty supreme. So as long as we keep playing the way that we're supposed to and don't let that, affect us too much, but we'd be stupid to not understand that people are going to play their best games against us, and I think we just need to come out every day and be ready.
Hey, Evan, it's fresh on my mind coming in. I saw the NIL thing with Weigels. Baseball's getting a lot of attention, and deservedly so. What does it mean to you guys to be getting that attention and getting that help individually and as a team?
It means a lot because there's a lot of guys that are hardworking and that they want to not only perform well on the baseball field, but they want to have their academics and their living situation. They don't want to have to worry about that. There's a lot of people that come to mind that come to Tennessee and they give up quite a bit of money to be here and to play for this team. So to have people getting opportunities and to have companies like Weigels reach out and want to work with us, that I think that's only going to increase, and as long as we keep handling business on the field, those opportunities will arise, I believe.
Evan, no matter what level of baseball you're talking about, down from little leagues to travel ball to college to professional, you don't see a lot of 20-game winning streaks just ever. What's it been like to sort of be a part of that, and how do you kind of keep going about the daily grind every day and not thinking about like, oh my God, my team's won 20 games in a row?
There's a lot of games where our bats have kind of, went dead or been silent throughout the majority of the game. But, that if you want to be good in this league and in college baseball, you got to have the pitching. And I think that's what's really has carried us, our pitching staff top to bottom. There is no breaks. And, with Blake Tidwell and Seth Haverson coming back, I think it's only going to get better. So, our hitting has got a lot of publicity over the past, couple weeks, but our pitching staff is really carrying us through a lot of wins, I believe.
What have you seen from Trey Lipscomb throughout this season? And obviously with him stepping into a more expanded role after kind of sitting behind some guys for the past couple years.
Man, I think he's been the most composed out of anyone I've seen. His emotions don't fluctuate too much, even in big situations, and that's big when it comes to baseball. But he hasn't gotten too high or too low. He has sat behind a lot of good players, and he's been able to see what works and what doesn't. And whenever he's gotten in his opportunity, everyone knows that he's made the most of it. So it's pretty cool to see, his emotional. He's kind of kept his emotions same, and even whenever it's going really well, whenever a lot of people would get, a little arrogance and a little cocky, he's kind of been the same person. So I think that's kind of been the key for his success.
Time for a few more. We'll go Brandon right here, and then Jake can finish us off.
How would you assess your defense to this point in the season, and how good did it feel to throw out Keegan over the weekend on that ball that got away from you?
I think I've been playing pretty well behind the plate. That was my goal coming into the season, was to be able to handle the arms that I knew were going to be talented, and I think I've handled them quite well. And the more guys I can throw out, the better. But as you can see, our pitching staff, they kind of worry about not letting people on base. If we give up a couple extra stolen bases, it's not too big of a deal. But as long as we're winning games, it doesn't really matter. The stat line for myself, to be honest.
Evan, Cortland Lawson up to 7 homers this season. Has his success at the plate surprised you any?
Yeah, man. Whenever he first came at Tennessee, he was, let's just say he did not have much power. And there were a lot of people that really thought he would never really play here. But he stuck to the grind, and he really worked on his craft. And it's awesome to see what he's turned himself into. And no one can take the credit except for him. So hats off to him for being in the weight room, being at practice every day, just working to get better. And I think he's kind of stepped into a role of shortstop that not many people can do. So to see him, hit 7 homers, I would have never guessed that his freshman year. But there is no surprise now that he's in there and comfortable in the box and showing that he can display some power.
Evan, last year in that Villains comment, you talked about how teams kind of came in before overlooking you guys, maybe treating you as a mat a little bit. What's it been like to just watch that level of respect increase for teams that come in and know they're going to get the best team in the country right now?
Yeah, I think it kind of shocks a lot of teams, and it certainly shocked me on how quickly it came. I think it starts from the top with the coaching staff. They don't want to be disrespected by anybody because they work harder than anyone. So to see the coaching staff develop that mentality of no matter who comes to the place that we work, they're going to have a battle. So I don't think that's changed. Even whenever we have the number 1 beside our name, I think that we're going to keep that mentality, and we'll see if Missouri can come in and shake up some feathers whenever we're playing on our part. But I'm excited to see the fan base come out and how the team responds being back on our home turf, being the number 1 team in the country.
Thanks, Evan.
Yeah. Thank y'all.